I would like to start off this video by apologizing in advance for what I am about to do to you because I made another shell challenge. If you're not familiar with the concept, basically a shell challenge is a box, a random box in The Sims that we build and then I put it on the gallery for you to download and turn into something. This is today's box. Now you could make this into literally anything. You can make it into a house, you can make it into a restaurant, a museum, literally anything. Everything goes with shell challenges. The problem is they tend to cause a little bit of pain because I like to cover them with random boxes and bump outs that make it a nightmare to figure out a floor plan for and roof. But this one I was trying to make a little bit easier, I swear, okay? Because I wanted to make a tiny shell this time. Maybe tiny is a bit of a strong word because this is exactly 100 tiles of the 100 max of a tiny house. But I wanted it to be small because I think when it's small, it's maybe a little bit more approachable for you because a lot of times I'll make like 2-story houses that fill up the entire lot and those are kind of hard to do. They're sort of intimidating. So I wanted to make a smaller one that perhaps more of you would feel comfortable trying. Now the rules of a shell challenge are very simple. At its core, there is only one rule and it's that you can't change any of the existing exterior walls. That's the whole point of a shell challenge, right? Where everybody has the same shell of the build and then you can adjust everything else. You can change the wall height, you can add a foundation, you can add balconies and porches, you can put a roof, you can put furniture, you can put interior walls to make a floor plan. You can literally do anything except change any of the existing exterior walls. So this is the shell on the gallery if you want to download it and try it. It's just called lilsimsie shell. You can also find it with the hashtag lilsimsie shell. And look at this, when you click on that hashtag, you can already see a ton of people from my stream have made these shells already. And it's so fun because everybody has like a completely different vision for what this shell could become. I mean, just look at how many different styles of houses there are right here in front of us. And I haven't even posted the YouTube video yet. This is just for my Twitch channel. So with that being said, I want to show you what I did with this shell. So let's start the speed build, shall we? Okay, so first of all, I rotated the house onto a different direction. You can do that. You can put it on a bigger lot, put it on a smaller lot, rotate it, literally do whatever you want. You just can't change any of the existing walls. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again, but seriously, the only thing you can't do is change the existing walls. The shell has to stay the same. Obviously, that means you can't add like a second floor or a basement because that changes like the shell of the house, but everything else, completely fair game. Do whatever you want. And I tried to make mine into sort of like a little cottage kind of vibe. I used a lot of cottage living items and landscaping. I thought about making it like a proper English cottage and like using a lot of the cottage living exterior features, but I kind of struggled to make it look how I wanted to. And I will say, I actually bulldozed this twice when I was building it. Something about shell challenges is just very different from the usual way that I build things. Because obviously when you do a normal build, if something's not working, you can just adjust the walls to make it work. But when you're doing a shell challenge, you can't do that. So it causes me to completely give up and start over. So I did that twice in front of everybody on my Twitch channel, but we eventually got there, okay? In the end, I think we figured out something that was kind of cute. It's still kind of a weird layout. Also, the floor plan is probably one of the hardest parts. Usually the roof and the floor plan are the hardest parts of shell challenges, so don't be discouraged if you struggle and you're trying to do it. Because again, when you're building a normal house, if the roof isn't working, you can just adjust the shape of the place to make the roof fit better. Or if the floor plan makes no sense, you can just add a little bit of space or make it a tiny bit smaller for it to fit a little bit better, but not in a shell. In a shell, you're stuck with what you've got. And so it definitely took me a while to really figure out how I wanted to do the floor plan. And I will say that still the back door is in the bathroom. Yes, the only back door is in the bathroom. So does that make much sense? No. Did I keep it? Oh yeah. Did my whole chat complain about it? Oh yeah. It really bothered people. So I can see your comments already. Don't worry. I know it's weird. I know it's weird and I'm gonna keep it. My thought process was basically, I don't know where else to put the bathroom. I don't want to move the back door because there's this weird little stupid bump out that stupid lilsimsie put in the stupid house because she wanted it to be difficult. And so I kept it there. And then I just was like, you know what? Well, in Florida, some people have back doors out of bathrooms straight to the patio where the pool is, because in Florida, some people want to have a bathroom off the pool. So picture this, right? Like sometimes you'll find a house that has like a door to the patio by the pool and a door inside of the house so that you can come straight in from the pool into the bathroom to pee or shower or whatever, which makes sense, but you know, usually that's not your only access to the backyard. Also, I have never personally lived in a house that has something like that, but I've seen it. I've been to houses like that. Not even like nice houses, just like your run-of-the-mill average house that happens to have a pool and a back door to the pool from your bathroom. But like I said, there's usually like a sliding glass door or something in a more main area that this house does not have. Anyway, so my version of the house has 2 bedrooms. The one fun, weird patio door bathroom, a kitchen, a dining room, and a living room. It actually has a pretty nice layout aside from the weird bathroom thing. You'll see as I'm doing the floor plan here, I kept all of my struggles in. It took me a very long time to figure out the floor plan of this house. It was definitely not easy to do the floor plan here. And that is normal with shells, so I kept all of my struggle in because I really think that one of the most popular comments I get, like questions I guess, about building and why people tell me like, oh, I can't build, is because a lot of people struggle with floor plans. That's so normal, don't worry. It's really hard to figure out a layout that makes sense. So don't feel like you're alone in that. And if my shell causes you stress in that way, I do apologize. Sincerely, I am sorry for doing that to you. But speaking of the shell really fast, if you want to do the shell, obviously you don't have to, but I like to make Sims challenges. I think it's kind of fun to have like some new fun things to do as a group. And I also like to play Sims challenges. I feel like it's a good way to keep the game sort of exciting and fresh to constantly do challenges and stuff. So this is on my gallery if you want to download it. Obviously, again, don't feel like you have to. If you want more of them, I've done loads of shells in the past, so I can link a playlist for you. But I just love these because I love touring people's builds. I love at the end of the shells getting to see what everybody else did because it's so fun to see how everybody can look at the same box and just have completely different visions for it. It really is like one of my favorite things to do in The Sims. So feel free to join us. You don't need to have any packs. You also don't need to have it be a tiny house. I know that like I called it a small shell, but you don't need to have like tiny living or make it a tiny home. Mine's not a tiny home because I added like extra patio space. So don't worry about that. But if you want like the extra challenge of keeping it a tiny house, feel free to do that too. But speaking of the tour thing really fast, so I will make a video touring a bunch of your builds, and I'm also going to do a stream on my Twitch channel, which is also just lilsimsie, touring a lot of your builds. But keep in mind, I will not be able to tour all of them. I should be able to get through more than normal because it's smaller than normal, so I could probably do like double the tours on stream because the house is like half the size of the normal ones. But again, you already saw how many there were when we were just looking at the gallery, and I hadn't even posted the video yet, so just keep that in mind. If I don't see yours, please don't feel sad. And if you're gonna be sad if I don't see yours, don't bother doing it. You know, like if your only reason for doing the shell is that you want me to see it, I don't want anyone to be upset. The reason should be that you want a fun Sims challenge, you know? If your purpose for doing the challenge is to have fun building in The Sims, then go for it. But if you're gonna be sad if I miss it, and I will try to see like lots of things on the gallery, I try and comment on a lot of them and stuff, but again, like the gallery just stops loading after a certain point. Like you've probably experienced that. It's just so glitchy and so stressful. Trust me, I've got experience in trying to tour these shells, so bear with me, and I hope that you enjoy the challenge. Make it fun. Have fun with it. Hopefully no tears will be shed in response to my dumb shell, because that is never my intention. Oh my god. I didn't know my cat was in here. They're so quiet. You don't even like hear them walk in, and then all of a sudden they're jumping on my desk. Oh, my cat on stream yesterday, okay, so basically, I stream in the mornings on Wednesdays. I normally stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is obviously not the morning, but on Wednesdays, I stream in the morning. And so yesterday morning, I had brought an entire box of cereal up to my desk, and I was just like eating it dry before I went live, which is abnormal for me. I don't really usually bring like the whole box of cereal, but yesterday I was like, get the box and my water bottle, let's go. And so I had the whole box sitting on my desk. And then I like started streaming. I was just hanging out. My cat comes into my office. The box is sitting on my desk, closed, mind you, but not very well closed. You know how it goes. Just swats it off the desk. Cereal is all over my floor. And you can like hear it crash and like hear it spill everywhere. Crash is probably the wrong word too, because it was just a box of cereal and it landed on carpet. But cereal was everywhere because she just swatted it off my desk in the middle of my stream. She's not normally like that. Like my parents' cats are kind of more likely to hit things than her. Like they've been known to knock a water glass off the counter, but my cat doesn't really do that. But this time, in front of everybody, she knocks off my cereal box. Luckily, it was like dry cereal and not like a bowl of cereal full of oat milk that just spills everywhere on the carpet, because that would have been bad. But there was a bunch of cereal on my floor. It's kind of funny that it happened when I was streaming. I love when that kind of thing happens live, because like it's just so typical and it's so hilarious and it makes for a good clip and everybody's laughing. Like there's just something special about it happening live on Twitch that makes it worth it, you know? Too bad she spilled it. At least we had the experience. This is probably a very roundabout way to plug my Twitch channel, but I do stream on Twitch like every day if you want to come drop by. My name's just lilsimsie on there. I will link my Twitch channel down below, by the way, if you want to follow it. I'm just saying. Also, you could feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I mean, I post Sims videos every day here too, so if you want to subscribe, you're welcome to. Look, I don't usually beg for subs in videos, so you gotta just like throw one out there sometimes. You know how some YouTubers have like the pop-up that's like, make sure you like and subscribe, and it like pops on the screen? I don't do that. Maybe I should. should. Is that like what the cool kids do these days? No. I don't know. I just play The Sims. Okay. Other thing that is, you know, maybe not such a cool kid thing to do because I cut this out, but you have no idea how long it took me to figure out a rug for that living room. I literally cut out 4 minutes of footage, sped up 6 times, okay? So this footage you're watching right now is sped up 6 times, and it was 4 minutes long sped up of me just testing different rugs. It was a disaster. It took me so long on stream to figure out what rug I wanted to use because I was trying to go for this sort of like green and yellow color scheme, and I wanted it to be a little bit colorful, and I wanted it to be batchy, but I also wanted the floral chairs, and I couldn't deal with like the patterns of the floral with like another pattern, so I was just going way back and forth trying to find a rug. I really wish that I had like some deeper neutral rugs. We have a lot of like light rugs, which is good, but I want like some deeper ones. Like give me like a deep like emerald green kind of color. Honestly, just give me more neutrals. I know that emerald green's not a neutral, but in my mind green is neutral. And I really just want more neutral colors in like a million different shades. I made a whole video where I made my own CC wallpapers just for that reason, to get like more neutral shades of wallpaper. For example, like, you know, the paneling, the white paneling, I love the idea of like white paneling, white trim, and like a deep color on the wall. I'm actually putting that in my own dining room in my new house. There's gonna be like white paneling and like a deep kind of green color on the wall above it. It's gonna be great, mark my words. But we don't have that in The Sims. Honestly, we are severely lacking greens, just in general. Give me more green in this game. The Sims is green. Green's like your whole thing. Give us some more, but not like Sims green. Don't give me the weird like plum bob shiny lime color. No. We need more like sage green, okay? This is my PSA. Please, I am begging you for more green. Okay, but quick thing about the shell tours, again, before I get too distracted, I'm gonna tour these shells on stream on February 21st, okay? So that's in like 2 weeks, and I think I'll probably post the YouTube video in like exactly 2 weeks, probably maybe a couple days after that. It takes me a little bit longer to make the video, so bear with me, but that's the idea. So you kind of have like 2 weeks to do the shell if you want to be in the video, but again, don't make that be your like driving force. Just do the shell because you want to do the shell. Don't do the shell because you want to be in the tour video, because I'm only going to tour like 15 builds, and there are more than 15 of you watching this video right now. I mean, well, I think. It could flop, you never know. Okay, well anyway, I'm almost done furnishing the interior of this house. You can see I'm doing that second kid's bedroom right now, and I actually based the whole room off of like one yellow wallpaper that I wanted to use, and also a rug from Dream Home Decorator that I wanted to use. Dream Home Decorator truly has the best furniture in this whole game. The gameplay, kind of a flop, I won't lie. It's kind of broken to this day. I don't understand how, but alas, it's been like a year and it still doesn't really work that well. But the kitchen counters, you know, 20 bucks for some beds and some kitchen counters. Do you know what? I just realized my nail polish is like the exact same color as that door in this build, but also my nail polish is extremely chipped and looks terrible right now. So that's nice. I really need to paint this again. This nail polish is actually a Hollow Taco one. Hang on, look. Sorry, I know I'm still recording and I'm not even gonna cut this out, but this is a Hollow Taco nail polish called Matcha Maker. Hollow Taco is Simply Nailogical's brand. She's a YouTuber. She's like a nail polish YouTuber. She's so cool. And they sent me some nail polish. Not this one, I bought this one, but because I was wearing her nail polish, her PR team sent me their Christmas collection for free. That's the first PR I ever got in my life. Obviously I get like, I guess Sims PR, but I don't think that counts because I am a simmer. Like a simmer through and through. I never get makeup PR. Are you kidding? Me? A beauty guru? But I got sent nail polish. That's so cool. It makes me feel very powerful, I won't lie. Perhaps I should pivot my content and become Lil Beauty Guru Z. You immediately unsubscribe. You're immediately done. No, we're done. I'm out. I don't think a single one of you wants to watch that from me at all. Not a single one of you. Okay, well the house is actually almost done now, so we're just gonna do some landscaping. You'll see that I actually used a lot of cottage living debug landscaping with this. So to access that stuff, one, you gotta have cottage living. But then two, if you type in, and get ready for this, it's a long list of cheats. Testing cheats on bb.show hidden objects, and then bb.show live edit objects, and then search debug in the search bar and filter by cottage living, then you can have access to these flowers. I realize that is absurd and a really tough request, but that is the only way to have access to any landscaping from cottage living. Look at how nice those flowers are, like the little daisy ones they have. have, those are probably some of the best flowers in this whole game, and you could only get them in debug. Why? How does that make sense? It makes no sense. There's gotta be some reason they locked them behind debug. I assume they're not like done. They're not like ready to be used because they made those plants as landscaping for the world. There's lots of debug landscaping, like base game stuff, things from other packs, and I assume it's because they're like not right. Like they didn't make them as like official objects. They made them as like environment objects, so they probably have like weird poly counts and like weird things like that. But look, besties, I'm just a Sims builder. I don't know the specifics, but I think that's dumb. I think they should have actually released them for real, because think about how many people will never know the joys of those daisies. They'll never find out because they don't know about debug. You probably just found out. I mean, a lot of you already knew, but you might have just found out. And I realized that cheat I gave you is an absurd one, so just Google like Sims debug cheats, because then you can find out, like you can copy and paste that way instead of trying to type what I said, because that's too much. Save a little screenshot on your phone of the Sims cheats, you'll be good to go. They're really so complicated for no reason. Like they're really unnecessarily complicated. It's kind of annoying. But with that being said, the build's pretty much done. So shall I show you around what I built? I've got it right next door to my empty shell here. So keep in mind, this is what the shell looked like originally. And then I rotated it and turned it into this. So the outside is kind of basic. It's got a little front porch with, of course, a chess table. We've got like the green windows, the yellow wallpaper, and the green roof kind of color scheme going on. I personally love this little porch. I would love to sit out here. And then when you actually come inside, you walk straight into the living room, which is kind of nice. There's no TV, but there is a big fireplace. And it's all like an open concept in the living space. So we have the dining table and the kitchen right here. This is that bathroom I was talking about that has the door to the outside, and that is the only door to the backyard. Don't worry about it. But then we also have 2 bedrooms, one for the parents and one kid's bedroom that has a computer. There is no TV, but there is the computer, so that's nice. And then the backyard, from the bathroom, you can get to this little like patio table. There's a swing set and some gardening boxes. I think it's kind of cute. Don't worry, I did not forget the trash can. It is a fully functional house, I swear. And then there was this weird part in the floor plan that I didn't really know what to do with, because I wanted to have this wall here be straight so I could put some kitchen cabinets on it. And so I got left with this weird tiny corner, so I decided to put a nice bookcase door there. It looks like a piece of furniture, it's pretty, and behind it is a naked gnome. So that's what I did with that. Would love to see what you all choose to include in your builds. And with that being said, I think I'm gonna go. So remember, it's hashtag small simsie shell on the gallery. If you want to download this and then upload it again, make sure you use that hashtag so I can see it. And if you like shell challenges, I will link the playlist of my past ones and their tours down below. And I'll see you all later. Bye, everybody. I honestly had completely forgotten about that gnome until I loaded into this lot and saw the bright red lighting in there. It is kind of a jump scare, so for that I apologize.